Today we're in the 2025 Mazda CX-70 plug-in hybrid, which isn't super important other than the fact that it's a good platform for demonstrating both wired and wireless Android Auto, and it's got a big screen so you can see everything clearly. Now, if you don't have a 2025 brand new car, well, don't worry. There's also a lot of aftermarket options that you can use to add Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to older vehicles. So now that we've gotten through that, let's dig right into getting connected. Now, Android Auto is not just a cheap knockoff of Apple CarPlay. It's been around for nearly as long, and it's an extremely popular way to get on the road with things like Google Maps and your favorite audio streaming apps. For the phone, you need an Android phone running at least Android version 6.0 for a wired connection, and for wireless connections, we're talking Android 10, Android 11, depending on the manufacturer. Google's Pixel phones and the Samsung Galaxy series of handsets are the best for compatibility. Your mileage may vary if you get a lesser known phone type. Today I've got my Google Pixel 6 Pro here, an older phone, but it's running the newest version of the Android 16 beta. So don't worry if bits of your menu look a little bit different from what I've got here. It's pretty much the same steps to get started. Now, the next thing that you're going to need is a USB cable. And here's a place that you definitely don't want to cheap out. Depending on your phone, you'll either need a micro USB cable for your phone side or a USB Type-C. And depending on your car, you're going to either need a USB Type-C or the older USB Type-A port. Most Android phones say that they can get by with a USB 2.0 connection, but I find that using a USB 3.1 Gen 2 connection will guarantee that you'll have the best bandwidth. Buying a nicer cable also means that you'll probably have a nicer connection, so no wiggling there, a more stable connection, and a much better behind the wheel experience. The next step is to plug them all in. Cable to the car, cable to the phone, and your car should automatically recognize that your phone supports Android Auto and show you a prompt to get connected. You'll also have to approve this connection on your phone side, so do this while parked, not at 80 miles an hour. But that's pretty much it. You're now set up. Now, if your car supports wireless Android Auto, you may get a prompt to connect to that. You may have to go into a menu on your phone to set it up. Your mileage may vary depending on the generation of Android you're running on your phone and what the software in your car wants to do. Some cars, like certain BMWs, support a feature called fast pairing, whereas when you get in the car, it automatically recognizes that your phone supports Android Auto and just prompts you to connect it, kind of like quick pairing with AirPods on an iPhone. And certain Mercedes-Benz vehicles have NFC points that you can tap your phone to automatically initiate pairing. Now, connecting via Bluetooth is going to vary from car to car, so showing you it here doesn't really help you very much if you drive a different car from the 2025 Mazda CX-70. But a tip that I've found is that if you're in a car and it doesn't have a phone paired to it, usually you can hold down the voice command button and it will automatically pull up the Bluetooth pairing menu. From there, you should be able to very quickly get your phone paired and connected to Android Auto wirelessly. Now we got the pairing code here. Boop. And we're good to go. Now, wireless connectivity is great for short trips, but I really like to plug in for longer trips for a variety of reasons. Number one being that your phone is going to be rendering maps for navigation, it's going to be streaming audio, and it's going to be doing all of that while keeping its Wi-Fi connection hot. And that's going to be a big drain on your phone's battery. It's going to make your phone get very hot, which is great for longevity. So for longer trips, I like to plug in, which is why I said that cable is so important. So now we're all connected, and this is the Android Auto interface. In a lot of ways, it's more flexible than Apple CarPlay, and in a lot of ways, it's just different. We've got a split screen configuration here in most vehicles, though depending on whether you have a wide screen or a tall screen or a square screen, you may see the screen split differently in your car. Along the left edge, we've got shortcuts to our most recently used apps, and we can also pull up a list of all of the apps that are on our phone. Now, when you connect to Android Auto, every app that's on your phone will automatically populate this list. If you want to rearrange them or get rid of an app, you don't want it showing up in the list, you're going to have to pop over to your phone and go into the settings. Now, if you don't want to be reaching to tap your screen or scrolling around like we do here in the Mazda, you also have voice command. You can either tap the microphone here, you can hold down the voice command button on your steering wheel for a couple of seconds to trigger the Google Assistant or Gemini, depending on how your phone is set up, or you can hit it with the good old, "Hey Google, navigate to work."
Sure, Anderson architecture.
So there you have it. How to get connected with Android Auto in your car, and some tips that can help you troubleshoot any connectivity issues you might be having. Drive safe, and I'll see you next time.